Good morning, everyone. Yes, very good morning. Shall we begin the session? Today's topic is the discovery of the hosted code. So, whatever the office that we have, whatever the topics we have, so that is the code we are running. We are going to run the office application process. So, that application must be able to discover your code, load the code into the process space, and run your code. And these office add-ins are also registered in the Windows registry so that the office can find and start them. Using the registry seems the latest .NET or non.NET, so this is necessary because 2003 environment looks to the add-ins as they were COM objects through intro, and whatever the code behind a document pattern that does not require registry entry. Instead, code is illustrated with a document by adding some special parameters to the document, and Office treats these properties when the document opens and then loads the code associated with the document. So whatever the document we have, whatever the topics we have, so that is done by using a registry entry, that is using by special entry, special properties to the document file. So for this, or for this one, so we have the Office 2003 that talks to the add-ins if they were COM objects through the COM intro. Next is context provided to the hosted code. So it is very critical that your hosted code get context. It needs to get the appointment or application object or the document object for the application object for the office application into which it is loading. So whatever the application we have, whatever the object we have, so that's loaded into the office application, and these add-ins are also provided with the context through an interface implemented by the add-in class. So whatever the add-in class, whatever the objects we have, that VSTO are also provided with the context through a class created in the project that represents the application being customized. So that customized object, that application being customized, that represents the application. And whatever the code behind the document in VSTO is also provided with the context through a class created in the project. So that class will be context field. That class will be provided with this that represents the document being customized. So whatever the document that customized, that makes the customized product, that makes the class that is created with this entity. Then entry point is also used for the hosted code. So at the startup level, Office also calls into the entry point where code can run for the first time, and also registers that might occur also later in this session. So whatever the object we have, whatever the hosted code we have, so that makes a COM add-ins, and the entry point is the on connection method of the IDT extensibility interface implemented by the COM add-in. So whatever the COM object, whatever the COM drivers that will be used with the VSTO outlook add-in and VSTO code behind the document, and this entry point is the startup event handler. Now, how code gets run after startup? So after the hosted code starts up, so code continues to run in one of the more following ways. How they run? So they run in response to the event raised by the office. And the most common way that the code runs after startup is in response to any event that occurs in the office application. So whatever the application they have, whatever response that they have, so they use with the startup that is response to the event they occur in the office application. And the startup also raises events whenever the document opens or sells in a document spreadsheet changes. And there's also listing out with the listen activate with the activate event that Excel can provide. And typically you will also hook up the event listener such as the one that's shown over here. That makes an issue entry point of the code. Code is called. The next is the interface methods that call an object provided to the office. So whatever the entities we have, whatever the objects we have, so that makes the startup class for the COM add-in implement, that makes an interface or that implements an interface known as the IDTE extensibility tool. That are the method that office calls during the runtime of the application. During the runtime of this application, so we have a IDT extensibility that makes the code run, and if the user turns off with the code and COM add-ins, so this calls the on disconnection method or the IDT extensibility to interface that is implemented by the COM add-ins, and in this way additional code runs after the initial entry point has run. And in the same way, event also raised on the code behind the classes. So whatever the code, whatever the classes we have that is generated in the VSTO project, that represents the customized application of the document, handle the startup and the shutdown event. And after the constructor of the class executes, Office raises the startup events. And when the document is about to be closed, so Office also raises the shutdown. So one is the startup event, one is the shutdown event that is raised, that is used with the, we can say the method that is provided with the startup and the shutdown events. Now, how the code gets unloaded? That's the next question. So let's start with the code, that is how codes gets unloaded. So there are multiple ways by which the codes get unloaded. So that depends on the development pattern we are using. If we are using the automation executable pattern, your code unloads when the automation executable faces. And if you are using the add-in pattern, your code unloads and the Office application accepts on the user terms of the add-in via add-in management dialog. So there is the add-in management dialog that is available. And if you are using the code behind the pattern, your code unloads when the document associated with you where code is closed. So whatever the document you have, whatever the data you have, so that is closed for the document, that is closed for the document that is associated with you. And in the hosted patterns of the running code, there is a method that is called or the event that is raised, notifying you that they are about to be unloaded. And for the Office add-in or for the COM add-ins, that Office also calls the on-disconnection method. And for the VSTO, that is used code behind the document and the Outlook add-in, so this also raises the shutdown event before your code is unloaded. So whatever the code we have, whatever the data we have, so we are using the shutdown event before your code is unloaded. Next is Office Automation Executable. So this section considers each of the three patterns of Office solution in more detail that uses the automation executable pattern startup in the Office application in a very straightforward manner by creating a new instance of the application object associated with the Office application. Because automation executable controls Office application, so this automation executable runs codes as a startup at any time thereafter when executing control returns to the automation executable. So whatever the data we have, whatever the follow we have, whatever the link we have, so that will be used as a control that returns to the automation executable. And whenever an automation executable uses new to create an application object, so the automation executable controls the lifetime of the application. So whatever the data we have, whatever the lifetime we have, that is used with the Office application, that is used with the application by holding the created application object in a variable. And this Office application determines whether it can shut down by determining the reference count or the number of clients that we are using up its application object. So whatever the application object, whatever the data we have, so that cannot be determined by the reference count or the number of clients that we are using. And in this listing, as soon as a new is used to create a my Excel app variable, this starts and adds one of its total or count of clients that it knows are holding a reference. So whatever the data we are holding, whatever data we are getting, so they are holding a reference to Excel application object. And when the my Excel app variable goes out of scope, when the main exits, so this .NET garbage collection also releases the object, and Excel is also notified about the console application, whatever the console application needs Excel application objects. And this causes the Excel count of clients holding a reference to the Excel application object to go to 0, and in the same way Excel also exits because there are no clients that are using Excel anymore. And when you create an object or when you create an Office application by creating a new instance of this application object, so this starts up without showing its window, which proves useful because you can automate the application without distracting the users by popping up the windows. And if you need to show the application window, you can set up the visible property of the application object to the true. And if you are the main window, the user controls the lifetime of the application. And in Excel also, the application will not exist until the user also quits the application, and your variable application is also garbage collected. Why? Because whenever a user application or whenever a user exits the application, so it's very much fable, it is very much used that a variable is still holding an instance of the word application object. Now let's say the status bar of the Excel to say hello world and opens a new blank word workbook in Excel by calling the add method. This programming Excel, working with the Excel events and working with the Excel object that also covers the Excel object model in more detail. This automation object is this automation of the Excel via the console application that is also used with the Microsoft.office.interop.excel. So it is just used with the system.windows.com. So whatever the namespace console application that is used with the class program, static bool exit equals to 4, static void main string args, excel.application my excel app, new excel.application. So whatever the application variable we are using up, whatever the data we are using up, that is used with the application object, that is used with the app, that is used with the visible as object. So my Excel app dot status bar hello world, my Excel app dot workbook dot add system dot type dot message. My Excel app dot sheet before double click, my Excel dot app events sheet before double click event handler. This is also used with the my Excel app sheet before double click. And while exit equals to false, so this will be used with the application dot do events that will be carried out with a double click, that will be carried out with the object sheet range target bool cancel. So this is exit equals to true. So this will show up with the system.windows.forms assembly that must be added to the project. And after this, these event handlers are also opened or also hooked up. The system.windows.application.do events is also in a loop to allow the Excel application to run normally. And if the user double clicks a cell, Office yields time back to the event handler in the automation executable. For this event, we use the static variable exit retrieve, which is used with the looping during the event to exit and the automation executable to exit. And you can also see the lifetime management of the Excel in exit action by running the automation executable that is given in the listing to run and the exit Excel without double clicking on it. You can also you can also make the Excel application with the console application, we can say, with a reference or with reference to the Excel application object. And this section also creates to the creation of a simple console application that automates the work to create a table that specifies that wiki is an online encyclopedia that users can contribute to. For example, when we see that the documents are the Office primary interop assemblies will be used, that is a PIA. So wiki uses a simple, easy to edit text file that any visitor to the wiki can edit without having to know HTML. So without knowing HTML, without going to the HTML file, without making the HTML data, so these text files have a simple representation of even complex elements such as a table, and our console application will read a simple text file that specifies a table in the wiki text format. That will automatically automate the words to create a word file or word table that matches the table file execution or specification. So whatever the specification they have, that is used with the text file, that is used with the visitor to entry for the HTML file, for the HTML data. Next is the table that's showing the properties and the methods of the words add-in objects. So whatever the word add-in objects that is used with the properties, methods, return type, name. So one is the property, then application, return type is application. Property, name is autoload, return type is boolean. Property, compiled, name is compiled and the return type is also boolean. Where property created in 32, method delete void, property method index in 32. These are the various parts of the properties that is used with the application, that is used with the return type, For example, when we say about the auto load, that is a name of the property that contains with the boolean. Then property compile boolean, property creator in32, method delete void, method index in32. And this property have an index, that is a name, and this method has a in32. The next next property is install, and the return type is boolean. Then property name string parent object, and the property have a path, and the return type is string. And this is the wiki text implementation representation, where the property of the methods return type name, return type property application, property auto boolean, compile boolean, property creator in32, method delete void, then property index in32, install boolean, name string. So these are the various parts that is used with the auto load, compile boolean, name string parent path, and this makes a console application. And after launching this studio, we are creating a new project from the file menu that also opens with the variety of the project types. So we are using the Visual C# node from a list of the project type, and also choose the Windows node under the Visual C# node. And this is slightly counter-constructive because there is an Office application mode available, but the Office node only shows VSTO code behind a document project, and this VSTO code is the admin project. And after you choose the Windows mode, you will see in the window to the right the available templates. You will choose the console application template, name your console application, click on the OK to create your project. And once you have created this project, so this will be used with a Word wiki. And note that the new project have different experiences than the one that depending on the profile we are using. In this book, we assume that we are using the Visual C# development setting profile, and you can change your profile by choosing the import and the export settings from the tools menu. There's a new project, console application, console property, there's a class library, and when you click on the OK button, Visual Studio creates a console application project for you, and this also creates the content of the project in the Solution Explorer window. And by default, when we create a newly created console application, so this makes the assembly system, system.data, and the system.xml. So we also use the Word 2003 PIA by right-clicking the reference folders. So when we say about the by default, so they are using the by default with the application. These are the application that is coming up with the by default with these methods, with these properties. One is the property or the method or the action, whatever the action we have, whatever the method we have, whatever the application we have, that is automatically loaded with the boolean, with automatically compiled with the boolean, with the automatically creator that is used with the in32. When there is a method, delete void, property index in32. So I think there are two parts of this. One is the index that are in 32. One is the install that have a boolean value. Again, there is a name string, parent object, property path string. So we will use Visual Studio 2005 to create a console application. With this application, with this Visual Studio, choose a new project from the file menu. So whenever we are using the Visual Studio 2005 consolidates, that is used with the variety of the new projects, that is used with the Visual C# node from a list of the project types, and choose the Windows node under the Visual C# node. And this is slightly counter-constructive and intuitive because there is an Office application node available too, but the Office node only shows VSTO behind the document project and the VSTO Outlook add-in project. Now, after you choose the Windows mode node, you will see in the windows the right of the available template. So whatever the available templates we have, the data we have, the console application we have, so that the console application will be used with the OK button to create your projects. And in this, we have created a console application known as the Word Wiki. And note that the new project dialog can have a different appearance than the one, then depending on the profile we are using. In this case, we are using the Visual C# development setting profile. And you can also choose the profile. You can also change the profile by choosing the important export settings from the tools menu. So whatever the data we have, whatever the tools we have, so we use the import export settings from the tools menu. That is also required with the Visual C# development setting profile. There is a new project, Windows, Office, Database, Starter Kit, Test. This new project will be used for the console application that is used with the class library, creating a console application from the new project file. And when you click on the OK button, so this creates a console application project for you, and this also displays the content of the project in the Solution Explorer window that is available with the Word Wiki, that is available with the properties.assemblies.cs. This application of this console application project, Word Wiki as is shown, that is also available in the Solution Explorer. That makes we can say that makes a content with the console application project for you. So in this case, it is using the content. In this case, it is using the content of the project in the Solution Explorer window. So whatever the data, whatever the console application we have, that is used with the Word or project Word Wiki, as is shown in the Solution Explorer. So by default, when